Let me just back up and say, it wasn't until 48 hours ago. It's the first time the two things that I was aware of, Mercedes, is I didn't like the fact that I thought Obama did something right. And then I thought, why? Why would I think that why would I think that 8 years of Christian prayer could never prevail with a guy making a right call or a right decision? Ever? Well, and now I'm just going to, that spirit of Leviathan that we talk about will make you so that everything a person does in your mind gets twisted into evil. And you see this with the activist groups. They just become under a spirit where they cannot see good in anything. They just become, it's almost like a prejudice comes over the head. And I caught myself thinking, gee, it's funny. And you know what it was? It was like Glenn Greenwald. It's a guy I'm going to have play for you who's very sharp. And he said Obama had the smarter policy. Ukraine is not a strategic value. Don't make it the front line of foreign policy with a battle with Russia. We don't gain anything by winning that battle. That's the point where Obama was wrong on so much. But how do I know he wasn't right on Ukraine? At this point, I don't think Ukraine is worth having World War III or driving Russia into the arms of China and India, who are creating an alternative to the dollar. Folks, the dollar is who loses. America is who loses, because now you know what Putin's doing? He's gone completely to China, their credit card system. He's opening up his pipeline and all of his resources to feed cheap energy into China. America still won't turn on its engine. We still won't drill. We're going to Iran and Venezuela. We're going to crazy regimes to buy their oil rather than manufacture our own. It is insane. So we're the losers in this equation. But listen, I don't want you to be a loser. I want to talk about something real quick. Gold. I want to talk about the gold and the silver. Russia's doing something. They decided they're going to go 100% down on gold in terms of their currency, and they're going to be pivoting over to China. And both China and Russia are heavy in gold. And one of the things that we're looking at more seriously all the time is, as the dollar is under the assault of cryptocurrency, for all the enthusiasm we have for crypto, it weakens the dollarization of the world. For all the enthusiasm that we have, Mercedes shaking her head. For all you and Peter Navarro have a difference of opinion.
Well, Peter Navarro isn't right about everything, and you know what? I just think CBDCs, sure. If we're talking about central bank digital currencies, yes. Yeah. But certain crypto projects, crypto companies, I won't die on that hill right now. But I'm just
no. But saying. Let's say that everything that when you have what is weakening the dollar is when you're moving your currency out of those things that the dollar is connected to.
What's weakening the dollar is the fact that the dollar is backed by nothing. What's weakening the dollar is poor economic policy for the last 30 years.
Well, then why is weakened
the dollar?
Well, then why is gold good?
It's our collective. Well, yeah. I mean, we're in agreement. I'm just saying it's our collective trust in the quote unquote dollar that gives its value.
Why do you like birch gold?
Well, what's great about gold or Bitcoin is there's a fixed amount of it. And so when the everyone wants it, as we're seeing, like to your point, Russia's creating a financial system backed by gold, it drives the price of gold up because there's a fixed amount. Can't just print it into infinity like you do with the paper dollar. So the name of the game, I think, when it comes to any type of currency, quote unquote, is our trust in it. And so with gold, like you said, in the Bible, it talks about God says the gold is mine, the silver is mine. I think gold and silver will be around probably until the Lord's return. So if there's anything you want to invest in, it's going to be gold and silver, possibly some cryptocurrency right now as we experience record high inflation and gas prices. So if you want to invest in gold, then please visit lancewellnow.com/Birch, and you get a free 21-page report. We hear all the time from Birch about how many people are calling up, moving over. What's so cool about Birch Gold, I have to say this, is the IRA is backed by gold. So you've got an IRA sitting around right now. Maybe it's got 80,000, 100,000, 200,000 sitting there, and you're watching it erode in value because inflation, turns out, wasn't transitory. And now we've got everything going on with Russia. And so what you want to do is get yourself an IRA backed by gold, meaning that dollar amount, there's physical gold that they have at Birch in 6 different locations that you could have that's going to back the amount of money you have in your account. So it won't depreciate since it'll be gold backed. So anyways, really cool. Go check it out, lancewellnow.com/Birch. Back to you, Lance.
Thank you, Mercedes. Well, I'm glad to see we can agree on something.
We agree on a lot. We
Well-
agree on a lot. You know, and I was going to say too, you know, you're saying like, I just want some clarity, I guess, is what I'm after. But, you know, I don't necessarily think it's the fact that, you know, Trump chose to arm the Ukraine or the fact that Biden's doing a deal with Poland to send jets over. I really think, you know, at its core, it had to deal with NATO, right? Like with Ukraine potentially becoming part of NATO. It just became part of the EU. They accelerated that by a year. And then also, you know, I've heard a lot of talk about this one segment in the Ukraine where they built a dam and it's really cut off water flow into, it's all, you know, there's so much of Russia, but that used to flow into like a southern part of Russia. And so like those are the types of things like when you say, you know, we're driving Russia into the arms of the Chinese, I kind of think Russia is driving Russia into the arms of the Chinese more than we are.
And just because I want to anticipate, I don't want to become paranoid, but I know my people. Let me say this about Donald Trump and Russia. Trump had the right idea. He said, why are we trying to make an enemy out of a nation who we could have a friend?
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, he got it. Don't let Russia and China link up. Nixon understood this. Try to be the wedge. He pivoted over to China and he drove like Russia out. And then he'd go over to Russia and China would back. He understood the polarity. We're so dense in our State Department. It's almost like our policy causes our enemies, our friends to become enemies, and then the enemies all unite against us.
100%. I 100% agree with that. And I really am concerned about, you know, what's so strange, and I don't know if I expressed it correctly earlier, but seeing corporations weaponize against Russia. You know, you would see it from governments, but now it's like, you know, YouTube's going to pull out or Netflix is going to pull out.
No, it's very
and
scary. It's very scary because you see, after I saw GoFundMe take the money out of the truckers' hands, out of the Americans' hands, out of you, if you helped support a trucker who was trying to stand up against Trudeau, then the dang, you know, Putin, if you're all going to be mad at Putin, be mad at Putin in Canada. He shuts down the truckers. He seizes their assets. He threatens them with jail. He runs over them with his horses. He seizes their assets, closes down their bank accounts. Basically, in every respect, what Trudeau did was under Biden's encouragement. They had a phone call when the bridge was clogged up, the Ambassador Bridge up between Windsor, Canada, and like Detroit, Michigan. And they had, and Biden's regime said, deal with it. Now, Trudeau is tied in. He is a Klaus Schwab trained. He is one of the young generals coming out of Davos, and they all brag about him as being one of their poster children for the next generation of leaders. So he had to demonstrate that he's a strong, you know, totalitarian when he needs to be.
Don't go anywhere. You're going to miss it. The whole podcast is over on lancebonner.com/podcast. This is just an excerpt. Go watch the full thing. Click the link in the description. It'll take you